In Guatemala, the Jacob Arbenz regime became increasingly communistic after its inauguration in 1951. Communists in the Congress and high governmental positions controlled major committees, labor and farm groups, and propaganda facilities. They agitated and led in demonstrations against neighboring countries and the United States.
On June the 27th, 1954, Colonel Arbenz fled the country, and Armas arrived as the new leader. Within months, Vice President Nixon visited Guatemala. In an event staged by United Fruit's PR department, he was shown piles of Marxist literature that had been found, it was said, in the presidential palace.
This is the first time in the history of the world that the communist government has been overthrown by the people. And for that we congratulate you and the people of Guatemala for the support they have given. And we are sure that under your leadership, supported by the people whom I have met by the hundreds on my visit to Guatemala, that Guatemala is going to enter a new era in which there will be prosperity for the people together with liberty for the people. Thank you very much for allowing us to see this exhibit of communism in Guatemala. You're welcome.
Lumumba, the Pan-African, with his MNC party, won a surprise victory in the first free elections. The Belgians reluctantly handed over the government to him. His closest rival, Kasavubu, became president of the young independent states.
We are honored to present to the Parliament of the Congo the first Congolese government as follows. Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, your humble servant, Lumumba.
In diesem Wagen wurde der italienische Konsul in Leopoldville ermordet.
The Italian consul in Leopoldville was murdered in this car. Terror and destruction are now the features of a freedom which many believe to be premature. Whites are fleeing mobs who have been whipped up to anger.
Through a series of press conferences, Lumumba tried in vain to win over world public opinion. He exposed the foreign intervention which was attempting to undermine the new independent Congo, but the press branded him as a threat to world interests and set about the assassination of his character. Reports from the German correspondent Peter Scholl-Latour were typical of the style used in the Western press.
Is it his Mephistopheles beard, or those eyes rolling like billiard balls behind his spectacle lenses? There's something terrifying about this man. He has the head of an African Lenin.
The red flag came down when the Congolese army in Leopoldville overthrew the ultra-nationalist Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba and expelled Moscow's diplomatic representative from the country. With Soviet documents, fly sheets and propaganda brochures burned, communist intrigues against the United Nations in the Congo have for the time being been stopped. A 30-year-old colonel, Desire Mobutu, has become the new strongman of this young republic, with the support of the majority of the Congolese army.
Mobutu had in fact been a trusted ally of Lumumba, who had appointed him head of the army only a few weeks earlier. He now declared he had deposed the Prime Minister. The officer who led the putsch was in fact the West's secret weapon against Lumumba. One of his most influential advisors was the Belgian counter-espionage officer, Colonel Marlier.
Mobutu was pro-Western, that's for sure. But apart from that, he was also manipulated by the Americans.
He was interested in dealing with the United States and having American support, and I was the person with whom he worked.